Hey everybody, welcome to the Edge of Eternity. Bill Cameron, that's me, as you probably know by now. I got a little project I'm going to be working on out here in the shop. It's kind of interesting and I thought you might like to see it. I'm going to be using a die that's located in this press. It's a very small die. I was going to run this tool in this press. This press is an air over oil press. Some people call them air over hydraulic. You can call it what you want, but what it does is it takes air, feeds air into this cylinder here, this upper cylinder, which comes down into this section. And this section is where the oil is located. And we also call it the high pressure part of the cylinder. So what happens is this cylinder comes down, compresses against the oil, which intensifies everything. It allows you to get a real high force. So I'll put about 90 PSI into this press and it can come down and press 4 tons. So I can get 8,000 pounds of force. It wasn't quite enough for this application. So I've got another 20 ton air over oil press on the other side of the shop that I'm gonna run this in. That should be more than enough. But yeah, just a little bit about this press. Tox Presso Technic is the one who makes it. That's the company I used to work for. They gave me this press, and this press, it just wasn't being used anymore. They used to use it like at shows and conferences and things like that. But it's pretty interesting. It has a linear transducer back here. That's this, and you can't really see it right now, but this rod, can you see where my hand is? There's a rod back here that travels down and travels up with the press as it moves. And I can set this press to go to a specific position and then retract. So if I need real repeatability, I can go to the same position time after time after time and achieve, the quality that I'm looking for, the consistency in the process. Then the other thing over here is a load cell. This is what I call a pancake style load cell. But this, if I want to use it, I just load up here in the top, on the end of the ram of this press here, and it will measure the force. So I can do two things. I can measure the force and position of the press as it's doing its job, which will give you a very repeatable process. One can be the primary, like let's say I want to always press to 2,000 pounds. So I can set it up to go to 2,000 pounds of force and not to exceed, but get to a minimum position of, let's say, 50 millimeters, 2 inches, let's say. And so it'll come down, it won't exceed that little tolerance I give it in the position. And as soon as it sees that it's in that window and reaches the force of 2,000 pounds, let's say, it'll automatically retract. So you get extreme repeatability out of a small press like this. These are used in the auto industry, the medical industry, the furniture industry, goes on and on and on, solar, any manufacturing process. These are used quite extensively. I sold many of these presses to Honeywell Aerospace, Ford, GM, Chrysler, all the auto companies use them, every single one around the globe. They're a really high quality piece of equipment. This one is kind of unique because all of the material that's used in it is stainless steel. I found that, well, I remembered that after I tried to stick my magnetic flashlight on the press and realized, oh, wait a second, this thing's stainless steel. Really nice machine. And they gave it to me. It has quite a bit of value. The way a press like this works, you've got two primary ports here. There's a port down here, okay? This port, when you add air to it, it will raise the ram. So this will retract up to top, what we call home position. And then when I add air up here to this port, it will come and press down. So let's take a look at how this works. I do have a whole new set of controls for this, new valving and everything that I won't have to do it this way. I'm doing it the prehistoric way right now, okay? So I'm just gonna put this air source, okay, 90 PSI, into this port, okay? Fits nice and tight. And you'll see when I blow air in here, the air goes in the bottom of this cylinder and will push that load up. So here we go. See how that raised? I'll let it back down. It's a lot nicer with a regular valve, let me tell you. So here we go. I want to get this tool out of here. So I'm going to pull these quickly out of here. I don't want this to smash my hand. And get the tool out of there like that. See if I can do this a little more gently. Okay, there we go. That was a little nicer. Instead of letting it just slam down. So this works. You come up. Now, if I went up to this port, okay, this is the port that feeds forward, okay, or causes the press to come down and make contact with the tool and then apply the high force. So I'm going to blow air to this, and you'll see if I had the press lifted, it had air on it, okay, it would hold itself up. Right now, it's not going to do that. But you'll notice when I add air to the forward position, you'll notice this, you'll maybe hear it intensify and put that high force on here on that piece of wood. And with any luck, it won't shatter or break. We'll put 8,000 pounds to it. Ready? Here we go. Hear that? You kind of see the press. You kind of saw it. You heard it clunk, and then you saw it press a little bit harder. Now, the piece of wood is in there. I'm going to leave it in there because I want the press to be safe. I don't want my grandchildren sticking their fingers in here and getting hurt if it was to come down because, number one, I don't want them to get hurt, and my daughter would be mad at me for the rest of my life. And if she got mad enough, the rest of my life could be short. All right, so anyways, that's how an Arrow oil press works. Now I'm going to take you over to a different Arrow oil press that has 5 times as much capacity as this one, okay? I'll be right back. I want to open this die up. It hasn't been opened in over a year. I'm going to put a little WD-40 in here just to free. It's not stuck, but it's not moving as smoothly as I'd like. So I'm going to shoot some WD-40 in here and see if we can't get it to move freely. Okay, grab a towel. See this Badland, let me get this up. See this Badland winch here? That's not going on my truck or anything like that. That's a 2,000 pound system. But you'll be seeing this in an upcoming video when I decided to use this winch system to motorize my bead roller. Okay, a bead roller is a tool that'll form beads, other shapes in your panels for your cars that you're building or customizing. And right now I have a crank wheel on it, and that's a little hard to do when you only have one hand. You're trying to follow a line and all that. So I'm going to put a motor on it and be able to operate it a lot more smoothly and accurately. So these are high torque and low speed, and that's what you want. I'm trying to hold back from beating at it with a hammer. I like the fit. That's what you want on a die because you need extremely good guidance. So it always comes down in the top of the die. The upper die matches the bottom die so you get a good uniform form and not squeezing too hard on one side or the other. So we just about got it here. Okay. Hopefully you can see that. It did get some, like a little bit of corrosion. See that green in there just from the 2 pieces of metal touching each other for such a long time. So I need to clean all that stuff up so we can get a nice smooth press stroke. Put a little bit more WD-40 down in the hole a little bit. It'll keep it in there better and let it seep through and maybe get that lubrication a little bit there. Okay. Moving a lot better. There, okay. Okay, I'm going to bring it down here a little bit closer. Here you see the lower die. See if I get that in the camera. Here's the lower die. It has 4 guide pins in it. Okay, See, 1, 2, 3, 4. Each guide pin has a spring on it. That's a return spring. So after you press the upper die on top of the part that you're pressing, okay, this is the upper die, and these 4 holes right here are bushings where the guide pins ride, okay? These need to have a really nice, just a little slip fit so everything lines up at each stroke. This, these 2 little, I'll call them, and they're not stop blocks, they're more like gauge pins. Every time you slide the material in, it'll come and it'll touch these, and you know you've stopped at the right position. After you press it, you can slide it through farther, and it'll hit again, and so on and so forth. It takes up just enough material to allow you to do that. Now let's clean this up just a bit. Okay, so what do we want to do to try to straighten this up? One thing to keep in mind, I was a metal model maker early in my career, and that's where I learned you fix everything with a hammer. I'll be right back. All right, we'll take a rubber mallet, and I'm gonna lift this off. Okay, and I'm going to give each of these a slight tap upward at about a 45-degree angle, okay? To just try to correct that. I don't know how tight these are held in there, so that might be the problem. They may be somewhat loose. A little bit more. Get a better crack at it like this. Get the bench to support the blows here. There goes the spring. Don't lose that, Bill. All right, let's see here. Okay, that's very close. That is very close. This one needs just a tad more help. Okay, I think I can make that work. I'm not super satisfied with it. My mill is set up right behind the camera here. I'm tempted to throw a reamer in there and just, or a boring bar, and just open these up, these guide pin bushing holes up a tad. But I don't want to, you know, this tool doesn't belong to me. I don't want to do a lot of major overhauling on it. So I'm going to see if I can make it work as is. It's pretty good. One thing I could tell when I had it back on there, the farther down you got, the better it moved. And that's really what I'm concerned with. I would like to straighten these up, but like I said, if it belonged to me, I would probably put it on the machine and do a little work, but I'm not going to do that. Make sure we got the tool correctly turned. And this, see how she goes. I'm going to have to give her a rat-tat-tat again. And these two are still out just a bit. I'm going to try another tool. It's kind of hard to get the hammer in there to hit that at the proper angle. So I'm going to use a piece of aluminum, just basically a little corking tool to try to knock that over while it's kind of halfway assembled here. Remember that song we all used to sing in the, I think it was the 70s, maybe the 80s, but I doubt it. So close, but yet so far.
Hi.
Hi, honey.
How you doing?
Good. Trying to get this die lined up properly.
Yeah.
Sometimes you look at a little tool like this and you say, why would they make the adjustment like this and not like that? But then you're second guessing someone, and what you have to keep in mind is they're not building a million parts with this tool. We're going to make about 50 parts. And so it has to be functional. It's more of a prototype tool than it is, you know, anything else. And so it doesn't pay to say, oh man, this should have been done like this or that. I've taken a few minutes of time to get it aligned is to be expected in a case like this, so it's not a big deal. The only big deal is I could probably run the die exactly the way it is, but I know that it's not going to be running true vertically. It looks like it's good at the bottom of the stroke, but I don't know. After being in this business for so many years, you don't like to cut corners, I guess. And if I would have hung around work for just a few more months, well, 6 more months, I guess, I would have completed 49 years in this business. So not always doing the die work and such, but most of the time, or a lot of the time, I was at least involved with it all the time. Did a lot more design, finite element analysis, things like that along the way. But it's all still based all around the same principles. You know, whether you're doing it in the computer or you're doing it on the shop floor, all of the rules remain the same. I think I can give this a soft tap, 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 and we'll be in business. Let's try it. Okay, so now I'm done on the springs. And the press won't have any trouble lifting that up. Now I had some material that I'm going to have to find. We will call this part 1, getting the die ready. Next time we'll have it in the press and we will go ahead and make some parts, okay? Thanks so much for watching.